Think about the last time you stood on the edge of the ocean and watched the water crash against the shore. The wave rushes forward, covering the sand with white foam, but it never stays there. The exact second it reaches its absolute peak, it stops, turns around, and slides right back into the deep sea. It doesn't matter how much you want the water to stay on the beach. It doesn't matter how much energy you exert trying to hold it there. The water must recede. This is the eternal heartbeat of our reality. Every single element in the simulation is logged into a continuous rhythmic dance. The fifth universal law that governs this matrix is the law of freedom. The ancient axiom states everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. The average human lives as a victim to this law. They experience a week of high motivation and success, only to be dragged down into a week of deep depression and stagnation. They watch their businesses, their relationships, and their health constantly cycle between peaks and valleys. Today, we are going to look at the mechanical blueprint of the cosmic pendulum. We will break down why every high is mathematically bound to a low, how the matrix uses these cycles to deplete your energetic reserves, and the exact operational protocol called the Law of Neutralization to step off the swinging arc so you never have to crash into the valley again. Let's decode the fifth law. To master the law of freedom, you must connect it directly to the previous law we mapped, the law of polarity. Remember, polarity establishes that every condition has two extreme poles. The law of freedom is the force that dictates how energy moves between those two poles. Think of a literal pendulum suspended in space. If you put that pendulum far to the right and let it go, it doesn't just drop to the center and stop. The kinetic energy built during the downward drop forces it to swing an equal distance to the left. The measure of the swing to the right is always the exact measure of the swing to the left. This is what the ancients called the law of compensation. Look at the macro cycles built into the grid lines of this simulation. The solar cycle, the peak of brightness of high noon, is perfectly balanced by the absolute darkness of midnight. The seasonal cycle, the explosive growth and heat of summer must give way to the decay and freezing cold of winter. The civilizational cycle, every great empire rises to a peak of absolute dominance, only to degenerate and collapse into ruin. This code is absolute. The universe is constantly balances its books. If an energy field is pushed into an extreme state of expansion, the universal field creates a backward pull to restore equilibrium. The problem is not the law itself. The problem is that human beings allow their consciousness to be glued directly to the bottom of the pendulum bulb. When the pendulum swings to the right, they ride it to the peak of joy. When the pendulum swings back to the left, they ride it straight down into the depth of despair. Now, let's look at how this mechanical swing affects your daily life. Most people are trapped in a state of emotional whiplash when they start a new project or launch a new venture. They allow themselves to get hyper-excited, manic, and overly attached to a high expectation. They think they are riding a wave of high vibes, but according to the law of freedom, the higher you climb into an ungrounded, polarized peak of attachment, the harder the backward swing is going to hit your system. The exact second the novelty wears off, or the first setback occurs, the pendulum swings back. The hyper-excitement instantly transforms into severe burnout, doubt, and lack of motivation. This is precisely where the simulation captures your voltage. The matrix grid lines don't just feed on pure fear, they feed on disequilibrium of your energy field. When you are constantly fluctuating between manic inspiration and exhausted depression, your biological circuit board is unstable. A fluctuating system cannot hold a high charge. It cannot accumulate the massive energetic momentum required to break out the local simulation loop. The control structures want you running hot and cold. They want you cycling through trends, art, and emotional news cycles. They keep you moving back and forth on the horizontal line, so you never look up at the vertical exit. So how do we break the horizontal loop? How do we stop the backward swing from crashing our reality? The ancient alchemists discovered that you cannot destroy the law of freedom. You cannot stop the pendulum from swinging. But what you can do is apply a mental technology called the law of neutralization. You do not stand at the bottom of the wire where the swing is widest. You raise your awareness up to the pivot point, the absolute top of the pendulum, where the wire is attached to the ceiling. At the pivot point, the pendulum is still moving, but the motion is microscopic. The velocity is zero. Here are the precise operational protocols to neutralize the cosmic rhythm. Protocol 1. The refusal of polarized attachment. To neutralize the backward swing, you must refuse to participate in the forward peak. When you achieve a major victory in your life, a massive influx of capital, a viral video, a breakthrough, do not allow your ego to become hyper-elated or manic. Acknowledge the data with calm, quiet appreciation and instantly return to your baseline. Look at the victory and think, this is a temporary wave. I'm not this wave. By refusing to get emotionally attached to the high, you do not build up the magnetic momentum required to create an equal and opposite low. You stabilize the field. Protocol 2. The silent transit, the underwave maneuver. When you detect that the universal tide is naturally receding, meaning you feel a temporary drop in physical energy, a delay in your business, or a quiet period in your creativity, do not fight the tide. Do not panic and try to force the energy back up through sheer willpower. That is like screaming at the ocean to stop pulling away from the beach. Instead, execute a silent transit. Accept the low point as a mandatory mechanical gathering of potential energy. Use the quiet period for internal editing, clearing your database, and resting your hardware. You allow the pendulum to swing back beneath you while your conscious mind remains completely elevated, untouched, and anchored in your sovereign vision. The reading compensates, but it compensates without dragging your mood down with it. The world will always move, the tides will always turn, the stock market will fluctuate, human opinions will shift, and your physical body will experience cycles of energy and rest. Stop trying to fix the universe by making it stand still. The universe is life, and life is movement. Your job is not to stop the dance. Your job is to become the immovable center point around which the dance occurs. Rise above the arc of the pendulum. Master the art of neutralization. Hold your baseline absolute regardless of the cosmic season. When you master the law of freedom, you transition from a leaf blowing helplessly in the wind to the anchor that holds steady in the middle of the storm. Now we have decoded the fifth eternal law, the law of the cosmic pendulum. We are ready to look at how these rhythmic movements carry exact intentional directions. In our next episode, we are going to dive deep into the sixth foundational law, the law of cause and effect. We have touched on its karmic aspect, but next, we will break down its complete mechanical application to reality creation. We will see how nothing escapes the law, how chance is just a name for a law not recognized, and exactly how to transition from being an effect of the world to becoming the absolute primary cause of your reality. Keep your baseline steady. Stay sovereign. I will see you in the next law of the matrix. This is Timeless Flame.